Hello, my name is Tim. Thank you very much for joining me at Urban Rider to look at yet another helmet that now meets the brand new ECE 2206 safety standard. This goes in line with the Arai Quantic and the Shoei NXR2 that I showed you recently. This time we have the Shark Spartan RS. It does things ever so slightly differently. Obviously it looks different to those helmets as well. But crucially, it now meets that brand new safety standard, which is making helmets safer across the board. Those safety standards will be coming in 2024, and they take into account a larger range of speeds, impact areas, and an oblique test to check the rotational forces involved in a crash. Obviously, as I say, this helmet has passed with flying colours. Now, it leaves me somewhat conflicted looking at this helmet in that, visually, it's not the kind of helmet that I would be drawn towards. It doesn't really catch my eye. It's maybe a little bit aggressively styled for my tastes. However, the practicalities and the price of this helmet really do draw me in. I should probably start by saying these come in at £299.99 for the standard colorways. That's the black and the white. There are some two-tone with some extra detail. You've got black and red, black and orange, or you've got a silver and yellow, actually. If that's your taste, they come in at £329.99, or you can go for a carbon variant, which is slightly lighter, and that comes in at £389.99. Which means that even the carbon version is slightly cheaper than the Shoei NXR2 or the Arai Quantic that this is kind of competing with. Is there a difference? Should you actually spend the extra money on the slightly more expensive helmets? Well, I can't really answer that for you necessarily. Obviously, they're all equally safe. They've been through the same safety testing. I don't know by how much they exceeded those safety tests individually, but you don't sacrifice with any of these. There is a bit of a difference though when it comes to the finish of the helmets and the fit and the comfort, actually. And I think that's going to be one of the things that draws you towards one brand over the other. I will get onto the sizing of these, but it is quite different than you'll find with the Shoei or the Arai. First though, let me explain the practicalities, starting with the shell itself, which is a multi-composite aramid shell. They obviously do that carbon version as well, which is slightly lighter. It's a nice kind of medium weight, really. It's listed at being slightly heavier in the equivalent size than the Shoei and slightly lighter than the Arai. You'd probably expect that Arai is quite a heavy brand when it comes to their helmets. One of the important things to point out though when it comes to the shell is that they only do two shell sizes, which changes at medium. So you've got one size up to medium, and then from large onwards it is another shell size, as opposed to with a lot of other helmet manufacturers where they have three shell sizes, so you don't get quite as big a jump with how big it looks depending on the size that you obviously go for. So it's a shame they don't do it in three shell sizes, but even so, it's not a deal breaker. Then on the inside, you have that multi-density EPS liner for impact absorption, and then your removable comfort liner that you can wash if you need to. It's also got slightly less padding around the temples, so that if you wear glasses, as I actually am doing today, you can put those in the helmet pretty easily, obviously. Just makes wearing glasses in the helmet a little bit more comfortable. You've also got cutouts around your ears if you need to put in some speakers for a Bluetooth system. And you've got a breath guard to help stop it misting up, and a chin curtain, quite extensive actually, it's quite a big chin curtain, to help with the airflow as well as soundproofing. You have got vents as well. You've got one on your chin and one on the top there with the exhaust at the back. And if I direct your attention to the very top of the helmet, you will also see that you have a drop-down sun visor, which is so useful when you're on the bike. If you've ridden with one of these, then you will know how useful it is, and you won't want to go back to not having it and having to put on sunglasses or change the visor for a tinted visor instead. And if you've never ridden with it before, I urge you to try it because it is so practical. When you're out riding and the light is inconsistent and you sometimes need a sun visor and sometimes don't, or if you're out riding and you're going to come back at night, for example, and obviously you want the clearest vision as you're riding back at night and you can't go for a tinted visor, you don't have the option of changing while you're out riding, this is so useful to have. And it's operated really well on this one actually. It's not spring actuated, which can be a problem on some helmets. Sometimes the spring fatigues over time, so it's a plus that it isn't spring operated. And you can set it in any position along there. You can feel the notches as you go along, but honestly, any kind of angle you can leave that set at. The same goes for the visor itself, so it's nice and thick. They actually say that it has multiple thicknesses across it to help it stop distorting your vision. So whatever viewing angle you have, there is no distortion on there. It does feel nice and thick. It looks really solid, and it's got the same kind of ratchet effect as you open and close it. And again, you can leave it set in any position. It feels really secure wherever you've got it. And it just allows for a little bit more versatility and variety in how you use the visor. It's operated centrally. You've got a nice big chunky switch there, which might take you a moment or two just to get used to because it is different to a lot of other helmets. But once you are, it's really sensible placement actually. It's really easy to use. Just clip that in and then set it wherever you want. It also comes with pin lock, so as far as anti-fogging, demisting, this comes with pin lock Max Vision 120, which is their highest grade of anti-fogging offered by Pinlock, so you've got no problems with this thing misting up at all. Max Vision, of course, meaning that you have a wider viewing angle. You can see the pegs within the visor there. You can see how wide that Pinlock will go. The last thing to mention with the visor itself is just how easily it actually comes off. So you've got these two latches either side. If I spin it that way, you can actually see this one on the right-hand side of the helmet. And if you just spin that around so that it is unlocked, you can then pop the visor off really simply like so. And then obviously get it back on really easily as well, he says, with minimal fuss. Actually, that was minimal fuss. Nice, there you go, and it's locked again, nice and secure. Spin that around just so it is nice and secure. And if you need to change the visors for any reason, obviously it's very easy to do so. And then we get on to the sizing and fit. I'll start by saying it uses a double D closure system around your neck that is nice and secure and infinitely adjustable. When it comes to the sizing or fit, probably more specifically on this, actually more importantly, I would say based on the experience of us today, I've just shown it to a lot of people in the office, we have all tried it on and we agree that this is a rounder head shape or caters to a rounder head shape, which unfortunately means that it doesn't necessarily fit me all that well. I have an intermediate oval, which means that it's slightly longer than it is wide, and I tend to favor brands like Shoei, for example, because of that. Arai, again, for me is a rounder fit, and I tend to sort of shy away from the Arai and go towards the Shoei. So I think that's one of the things that potentially could make my decision, definitely, and maybe make your decision as well, depending on what brands cater more towards you. We also agreed that it is a sportier fit of a helmet. And what I mean by that is when I first tried it on, I actually thought it was too short because my chin was fully exposed. And then I realized that actually, because it is a sportier helmet, and you can tell that just by looking at it, I needed to angle the chin down slightly to make it fit my head properly. All of this to say though, that sizing is a very particular thing. No two people are the same. You'll favor certain brands as you try them on because you'll know they fit your head in a particular way. Feel free to drop any comments down below that you want with this. If you want to check it out for yourself, the links will be in the description. And for more of the world's finest riding gear, stay tuned to Urban Rider. Thank you.